Therefore, the Honorable Mike Johnson of the state of Louisiana, having received a majority of the votes cast, is duly elected Speaker of the House of Representatives for the 118th Congress.
House Republicans finally getting on the same page yesterday, unanimously electing Louisiana Congressman Mike Johnson as the next Speaker of the House. Johnson delivering this message after his victory.
The job of the Speaker of the House is to serve the whole body, and I will. But I've made a commitment to my colleagues here that this Speaker's office is going to be known for decentralizing the power here.
Former President Trump posted this on Truth Social. Great speech today for new Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, off to a terrific start, writes the 45th president. Joining me right now is Texas Congressman Troy Nehls. He is a member of the House Judiciary Committee and a former Texas sheriff. Congressman, thanks very much for being here this morning. Your reaction?
I think it's fantastic. You saw the House come to order with unanimous consent. I mean, he got all 220 of us. All 220 Republicans in the conference voted for Mike Johnson. We haven't seen that in the past 3 weeks, even with our all-stars, whether it was Jim Jordan, Steve Scalise, Tom Emmer, McCarthy obviously being removed. That's what caused all of this. So I think Mike Johnson's off to a great start. He's a constitutionalist. I serve on the Judiciary Committee with him. I think he's been really Jim Jordan's right-hand man as it relates to judiciary. We're going to miss him, but I think he's in the right role at the right time. And this is good for him. We couldn't be more proud.
Now, I was looking at your posts on X earlier in the week. You wanted President Trump to be the Speaker.
No, I did. Absolutely, I did. I'm glad we were able to find someone to get to the 217. I was concerned early on with the 3 weeks, the delay, and I didn't know if the Lord Jesus himself could get to 217. But now we come together. We have a guy. If it would have been drug out, if this wouldn't be Mike Johnson, you absolutely bet it. I would have put Donald J. Trump. I'd have nominated him.
So tell me about your priorities, the priorities of the House Republicans. What do you want to see done now and priority on Speaker Johnson's agenda?
Well, the agenda now is appropriations bills. You know, we had to do a CR because we obviously have a timeline issue. We have a time management issue here. So now we have 8 appropriations bills, and we're getting to work right away today. We started debating them yesterday afternoon. We'll vote on one today. So I think that Mike Johnson truly understands that the American people are begging for leadership, that we have obviously a fiscal crisis in this country. It starts with this House, and we're going to get it under control. And we got to get these appropriations bills up to the floor and get them passed and get them sent over to the Senate.
Well, look, you also need a willing partner in the White House, right? And Joe Biden has not shown much willingness to cut spending.
Yeah, and that's it. And I tell my friends, I said it's very, very important that we get the House back and we do what we can. But if you're really, truly going to change direction in this country and fix the numerous crises that we see, whether it's inflation, the border, crime, we need to get the White House back in 2024. Every decision we make should be in the best interest of getting Donald J. Trump, our nominee, in my opinion, in the White House in 2024.
He said he's not going to participate in the next debate. Do you think that you're getting common ground among the conference that, in fact, he should be the Speaker, given these outsized wins and leadership that Trump has shown in the primary?
Listen, Donald Trump is the leader of our party. He is the nominee. I would highly recommend that we continue on with these debates on the different networks and this and that. Cancel all the debates. Donald Trump's the nominee. Let's get him in office. Let's get him in there to fix America. We've got serious, serious problems. We didn't have them. We didn't have them under Donald Trump. Think about it, Maria. Yeah. We're now giving $100 billion now for Ukraine. We got Israel. We've got problems. Donald Trump, 2024.
I want to get your take on what Biden wants. Obviously, he wants money for Ukraine and Israel together. But I want to get your take first on Kansas Senator Roger Marshall's plans. He's introducing new legislation which require the government to report to Congress about terrorist watch list encounters at the southern border. I mean, one would think you would be all on the same page about this. In a statement, Marshall writes this: there is an invasion at our southern border. Every day that the Biden administration continues their open border agenda, Americans' national security is at risk. Border Patrol has encountered 18 people who were on the terrorist watch list just in the month of September. A record 169 people on the terrorist watch list were encountered at the border during the entire fiscal year 2023. How are you going to address this?
He's right on target, absolutely right. And this is the problem the Biden administration has. You have a border czar, Kamala Harris. She's absolutely clueless. She doesn't know what's going on. And you got Mayorkas looking into the camera and telling the American people it's secure. So we've got problems at our southern border. And when did we have a secure southern border? Here I go back to Donald Trump again. We've got problems at the southern border. If you don't think what's taking place in Israel could happen over here in the United States, maybe during our Christmas season, we've got terrorists coming through. We need to shut down the southern border, shut it down until we get operational control. But they're not going to do it. They haven't changed their position here, their posture. Has the Biden administration really done something now with this intelligence that we're receiving, that you could see more Iranians and maybe Hezbollah, Hamas come into this country? They haven't done a damn thing. And they won't. They just won't. They're dug in. Shame on Joe Biden and the rest of the administration for what they've done to this country and the American people.
Well, it's absolutely incredible. And even in the face of all of that, we're also seeing signals of potential bribery, corruption in plain sight at the highest levels. Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley sent a letter to the FBI Director Christopher Wray saying that his office received information that shows the FBI had more than 40 confidential sources on various criminal matters related to Joe Biden, James Biden, and Hunter Biden. Grassley charging that instead of investigating those allegations with all of those human sources, officials with the Foreign Influence Task Force seeked out FBI offices across the country to discredit them, calling it foreign disinformation. Congressman, where is the investigation into the weaponization of this government?
Well, I think we've done a hell of a job on judiciary. Come on, we've exposed the DOJ and the FBI, the weaponization. You got to hats off to James Comer and Jim Jordan for what we've done to expose Joe Biden and his family with the money. They're thieves, they're criminals, quite honestly. And I think they're going to lose this. They're going to lose this because the entire family is criminal. But it's just not just starts with the leader. You look at what the FBI and the DOJ has done to the American people, whether we talk about the First Amendment or even, quite honestly, the Fourth Amendment. The whole damn administration is corrupt. And we must clean it out. We must clean it out. Donald Trump, I mean, this is the answer, folks. It's real simple. 14 months, we can put a true, proven leader back in the White House to fix the problems we have in this country.
Well, people are definitely worried that they're going to be next because they do see two systems of justice here. Krisha Lenzo is with me this morning. Jump in, Krisha.
Good morning, Congressman. So as a GOP strategist, we're all very excited to see that we finally have a speaker. The conference is united. But are we united in terms of picking up where Kevin McCarthy left off when it comes to the impeachment inquiry? Will the Republicans band together? I mean, you're part of the Judiciary Committee. What's the next steps here?
Listen, you've got obviously you've got some in this administration and some on the far left that call the mega Mike Johnson. I kind of like that. I think it has a great ring to it, quite honestly. Mega Mike Johnson. He is a true conservative. Obviously, he supports Donald Trump. Donald Trump supports him. So we need to continue to expose this administration for who they are. I support the impeachment of Joe Biden. I don't think it goes anywhere in the Senate because I've made it very, very clear. We need to make sure we don't put too much stress on him, give him his warm milk and put him to bed at night because we need him to be the nominee. I want him to be the Democrat nominee because Donald Trump is going to clean him up. He's going to wipe him out and he'll be our next president.
All right. We'll be watching, Congressman. Good to talk with you this morning. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. God bless.
Troy Nehls joining us in D.C. We'll be right back.